Hi, I'm Steve Ray, here today with another episode of Park Bench Pittsfield from our downtown Pittsfield office. And today, I'm here with City Council President Pete Marchetti. How you
Hello
doing
there.
today? Thanks
Doing
for coming
well.
in, Peter.
Thanks for asking me.
Now, Peter, you wear many different hats in this community, from banker, city councilor, parade committee chairman, and pretty much anything this community needs, you're there in some way, shape, or form to help us out.
I think my favorite part is bowling coach.
Bowling coach.
That's probably my favorite part.
Where? Ken's Bowl?
Ken's Bowl.
Which is a great place to go.
I run a junior league program for kids from 6 to 20.
Oh, that's great. Actually, we've had some pretty good success recently with some of these kids coming out of high school bowling.
We have
At a state level.
We have.
So anyway, Pete, you grew up here in this community.
Born and raised. I was one of those people that took off for a little bit of time because life was going to be greener someplace else. And Pittsfield's home. I came back quickly.
Well, we're lucky to have you here. You contribute in many ways. You're city council president for how many years now?
So at the end of this year, it'll be my 4th year.
4th year as president.
As president. It'll be 12 years as a councilor. So
Leading vote getter most of the time,
most
right?
of the time. Either win or you lose, one or the other. I'm either top vote getter or I lose. Take your pick. I'd much rather win, I guess. Winning is much more fun.
So today, I was hoping we could focus on something of real importance to all of us here in Pittsfield, especially us here in downtown Pittsfield, and that is the Pittsfield Parade Committee.
Happy to talk about the parade.
So when did the parade first start?
Well, so we have information leading back to the parade, going back to about 1824.
Wow.
And so the parade, I think, has had a lot of iterations since then. Back in the Civil War days, it had a totally different meaning. In the 80s, we were a parade that was televised nationally and had a much larger impact than what we see today. It was probably a decade ago that the parade was voted by the USA Today and the International Festival Events of one of the top 10 4th of July parades in the country. And we continue to hit the radar screen in one way, shape, or form with either state or national recognition for an event. I think one of the coolest things about our parade is it's never lost the touch of your hometown America parade.
Right.
And it's kind of always got a local flair to it. The people who are running it are all local. The people who are in it, for the most part, are all local, other than the marching bands and the drum corps that are coming from an organization. Why are they in the parade? And my answer is, are they part of the community? And once the person says yes, this is the community's parade. It's our parade. And I think one of the things that I get out of the parade on a yearly basis, and it doesn't matter whether they're 5 or 95, you see a whole different side of people that you don't see every day of the week. I find one of the coolest things is to be watching a 5-year-old kid snap to attention and saluting the flag as it goes by, and you go, okay, the patriotism isn't dead. Somebody's taught that kid the value of the American flag, and then you see the 95-year-old man either sitting in a walker or standing, and the same thing, maybe to a different level because the person may not be able to rise for the flag or whatever, but you can see that intense moment of, especially in the older person, you clearly know it's a veteran who is, served and provided us the ability to have the freedoms that we have and the need to have a celebration like 4th of July.
Well, that's a great perspective because you don't see not everything gets passed generation to generation, but something like this can help that pass down in that same respect, can keep going.
I mean, you see it. And then you also see all the different other aspects. When the giant helium balloon goes by, you watch the mouth drop and the eyes, go wide open. Fire trucks. For you and I, fire trucks may not be a big thing to see a fire truck going down the street, but for an 8-year-old kid, it's like, wow. And you don't know what that kid is thinking. Are they thinking I want to be a firefighter when I grow up? Are they just thinking that it's big, red, and makes a lot of noise and flashy lights? You don't know what they're thinking. And that's kind of the cool part, is that everybody can walk away from the parade with their own perspective. And what does the parade mean to you? And if you ask, 100 people parade day, I think you're going to get 100 different answers. There may be some common themes, but everybody has a different answer to what the parade means.
Well, that's very interesting, and you've already changed my perspective of the parade, because I look at the parade as something that I've been going to for over 60 years, right? And I certainly said that's not the same parade. And things like the old musters or the Battle of the Bands down at the park, I see attempts to go back at that and touch our past, and sometimes I maybe say, geez, we didn't do as good of a job as we should have maybe, but I never looked at it as it's today's parade, and it's linking the community together today as good as it ever did, I bet.
Well, and I think that's the, kind of important part for us, is that, I look at year after year, if it's 95 degrees, hazy, hot, and humid, people are sitting in their lawn chairs or on the curb watching a parade, and, I think to myself, geez, if I wasn't the guy running the parade, would I really be sitting there? Or would I be sitting home in front of the fan or the air conditioning watching it on TV?
Right.
I've done a couple parades, knock on wood that we won't have it this year, that it's been pouring rain. And those same people are still sitting there watching the parade, and why are they not home watching on TV where they can stay dry?
Right.
There's that sense of community, and to a certain extent, I guess you can make the statement that every parade, every year is the same thing, but it's not the same thing, because every year people have different perspective. You see a lot of the same things year in and year out from the parade, but each year there's some different flares, and I think it takes people in a time frame. I know, when we as a city changed Park Square so it was no longer a rotary,
Right.
people needed to find new seats. There were some angry people that said, I've always sat here to watch the parade, and now I can't do that anymore. And they want, me to solve it for them, and it's like, I don't know what to tell you. You can stay here if you want to, but you're
Just
not
won't
going to
see
see
the
much. I don't. And so you have to stop and think about that, and especially, out on South Street. If you took the time on 4th of July morning to say, how many years have you been sitting in the same exact spot? You're going to learn that people are creatures of habits, and they're sitting in the same spot as they always have, and the person to their left and right are in that same spot, and they've been doing it for decades.
No question.
And it's the family tradition.
We had our spot growing up as kids.
Yeah, it's a family tradition, and I think that's the cool part about what the parade symbolizes, is that if we lost the parade, we lose another sense of community. And you hear people talk all the time about things that we've lost. We lost the old train station, we've lost GE, we've lost all these things. The parade seems to be one of those things that we're not ready to lose yet, and we can continue to fight for it. And does the parade have to evolve like everything else? Yeah. As grandparents today are looking at their grandkids, it's not the way it always used to be, because everything has changed. But there are still the things that are the same.
Sure. Now, there is concern, though. I mean, the more I read in the paper, the more concerned I grow. Every year there's an appeal for money, but I don't know if we've ever been more concerned than we have been now, huh?
I think this year is probably the most serious that, and the most difficult that we've been in from a fundraising perspective.
No.
I mean, I think from this year's perspective, there were two things. One, I didn't want to approach it by, if you don't pay attention to me and you don't come to the plate and help, it won't be there anymore. Because I think people are pretty smart, and that's a threat. And if you threaten me, I'm less likely to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of tried to approach it from, we're in some trouble. I don't want it to be a threat, but if donations don't come in,
Sure.
then the parade can't keep going without being funded. What we've learned in general is, I think that companies are stepping up to the plate and donating. Individuals are stepping up to the plate and donating. And if you look back, company A used to donate at the $250 level. Now they're doing it at the $400 level. a person who would normally write a $25 check is now writing a $50 check. Organizations are coming forward and saying, how can we help you? Once the article hit, now almost 2 months ago, actually probably almost 2.5 months ago, folks came forward and said, Bob Heck came forward and said, I'm prepared to do a music bingo night fundraiser for you. You guys have to do nothing but help promote it and show up. We had almost 100 people show up at Berkshire Hills Country Club for a music bingo, and I was like, okay, what is music bingo? Had never been to a music bingo before.
It's a lot of fun too.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And now I got people saying, can you get Bob Heck to do another music bingo fundraiser? Because unfortunately, I think our timing for that was a bad night. It was the night before Easter and also during Passover, so it was hard for people to attend. We had a new band come forward. We have an event on June 8th at the Elks Club. It's a pasta dinner, but then we have the Happy Together band that is doing 2, maybe a little bit more sets of 60s music. So it's a dinner dance, not all that exciting of a dinner because it's a pasta dinner, but we're trying to keep expenses reasonably low so that most of the money can go to fundraising for the parade. But this 7-piece band came forward and said, we'll donate our time.
Wow.
For an event. And then we had some folks put together, I'll just call it a benefit at the A, for lack of a better term. They have 7 hours of time filled at the A by various different bands from around the county. And at last count, they were very close to 200 raffle prizes, so there could be a choice auction. And so, 200 raffle prizes are coming from the business community. So, I think that speaks volumes about what the business community is doing, and those people have already donated monetarily as well. So everybody's coming together in one way, shape, or form. And the good news is that these people are actually running the events, and the parade committee is assisting, rather than having to do all the work themselves.
So the community has become partners with you,
right,
to make sure this event takes place.
Right,
And that's a great thing, not only for the parade, but for our community.
Right. And I think that if you take a step back and look at the community, we can all complain about all the things that we don't like in the community. And I guess it's easier to complain than think about the positive things. There are so many positive things happening in Pittsfield on a daily basis that we lose sight of them because it's easier to go, I don't like this, or did you see that, than to be, look at all this positive stuff that's going on.
And this is certainly an opportunity to celebrate our success here.
Absolutely.
So after all these years, what's your most memorable experience, you think?
It's funny. I would probably go out there and change what I think I had told you before, but probably my most memorable is actually meeting Dr. Ruth on the 4th of July while she was sitting on the back of a convertible. And it was quite the embarrassing experience, because if anybody knows Dr. Ruth and the conversations that she used to have on her radio program, it's the same way in person.
Really?
And so she asked some pretty blunt sexual questions that kind of had me like,
really?
Do I have to answer that? So it was just kind of wild. And so I guess as I was growing up, Dr. Ruth was the
what TV icon?
Big TV radio icon, a big thing. And so probably being able to meet her and learn that at this point in time, she was 85 years old. Nothing changed. She was the same old person.
Well, I had the opportunity to meet her downstairs at the hotel. She's just a little bit of a lady.
She's just a little bit of a lady,
what a firecracker.
But she could make you turn red pretty quick.
Yeah, that's great. So I got to believe that seeing all those kids, like you said in the beginning, though, that's got to be what keeps you going. Huh?
I think the kids, and I'd give a shout out to Tony Pastore, 95-year-old veteran, past Grand Marshal. He sings at all the veterans
He's
groups.
the singer too, yeah.
Every year he'll make a point as the car is going by to stop and say, God bless you and thanks for what you do.
Wow.
And so the impact that the parade is having on those veterans. And so that's a big piece of it. And each year there's less and less of them that are coming forward. We look at World War II vets, how many are left in the community.
Right.
And so it's kind of sad. And then the kids.
Yeah.
I just did a radio program promoting the benefit at the A, and the person that was doing the show with me, who's actually organizing the benefit from the band point of view, when I heard the parade was going to go out, you don't know what you don't have until you actually lose it. And with the parade, that's not one of the things I want to test out. And his answer to me was, just think of it like this. What is the price tag for a smile? And I went, I'm glad that's not copyrighted, because I'm going to steal that and use it in everything I do. But seriously, what is the price tag of a smile? And it doesn't matter whether you're 5 or 95 or in between. I think everybody smiles a couple times during the 4th of July.
I guess so. So people can attend events to support you.
Yep.
How else can they support you?
They can go online and donate either via PayPal on the parade's website, pittsfieldparade.com. We also have a GoFundMe page, which they can find under Pittsfield Parade in Facebook, or they can mail a check to P.O. Box 1738 in Pittsfield. Last but not least, we'll have Bucket Brigade on the morning of the 4th. If you want to be one of those people that says, I need to see whether or not it's really worth it or not before I donate, well, we'll make it, the 11th hour approach to say, please help us donate at the parade.
Pittsfield Parade, Pete Marchetti, making sure we don't lose our past. Pete's going to make sure we're here for tomorrow. Thank you, Peter, for what you do.
Thank you.